Hey crafty friends, this is Nye here. All right, so today what we are going to do is we are going to assemble our layered heart Always Yours gift card holder. Now, as you can see, I've already got all of my pieces here cut out and I have them stacked up in the order for gluing, except for this little rectangle piece here that's gonna go on the very back. I didn't put that one at the back because I just didn't do it. All right. I'm going to be using my art glitter glue here for a lot of my paper gluing. And I also have some Mod Podge here that I'm going to be using, and I'll show you where and when we get to it in the video. And I have a little paintbrush that I'm going to use to help me to put my Mod Podge here onto my design. All right. And so again, I'll show you when we get to it. And I've got my confetti pieces here that I'm going to add in between my heart just to kind of help me have my shaker effect. I also have my foam tape that I'm going to be using to kind of give a little bit of space between my transparent layers here, my layers on the top and then my layers on the bottom, and where I'm going to have my confetti in between, okay? And I also have some foam dots here that I will be using as well. Okay. So that's my supplies, and let's get started here with our gluing. Okay, so like I said, I have all of my pieces cut out and I have stacked them up here in my order for gluing, okay? So what we're going to do first though, is we're gonna start here with the very, very back layer, okay? Well, let me run through the different layers here for just a moment before we really dig into it, okay? Because there's a lot of options that you could do with cutting your own cardstock and your patterns to kind of pull this together. All right, so in the file, you're going to find all of these different pieces. Some of them are going to be colored a little bit differently. For example, the transparent layer here in the file is going to be that orange layer, or not orange, I'm sorry, pink, the pink layer. That's going to be that in the file. And then the teal layer is going to be this cardstock layer here. You don't have to cut this one out. You could technically just do without it, but it does add like a fun pattern to the back of our heart here, especially when we have everything together. It's just going to add an extra like look to it. And then I've got this back heart layer, which is just the back of my design. So that way I don't have this white here at the back. Again, it's going to be a personal preference. Could you leave it white? Absolutely. And that's the same color though that I cut out my rectangle here. Okay. All right. And then I've got my transparent layer. Like I said, I've got this white heart layer, and then I cut my top layers here. So the top part here of my heart that has the arrow in a pink glitter. I did my arrow in the red, and then I used some foil cardstock for my words, okay? So there's lots of different ways that you can make yours and have fun with it. All right, so now that I did all of that, which was a little bit more than what I wanted to do, but it's okay, let's get started. Okay. So I'm going to take this back red heart layer that matches my rectangle. And what I'm going to do is I flipped it over, okay? So that way I have everything stacked up in the order for gluing, but I'm taking that bottom layer, like I said, and I'm flipping it over so that way I'm looking at the back of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rectangle layer here, and here's the moment of truth. Is my glue going to work today? Now that I'm making a video, because you guys know that it never wants to work when I make a video. Never does, I should say. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of glue right along the edges. And like I said, doesn't want to work because I'm making a video. Because every time I craft, this is just what always happens. So we'll see if I have to pause here for a moment to get it to work. All right. There's plenty in there, but it's like the pressure isn't going to work. I guess it's time for me to break out my new bottle. All right. There's like so much glue still in there though, that I want to be able to use it. All right, I'm gonna pause the video for a second while I figure this out. Okay, so that was a minute to get it working. All right, so like I said, what I'm going to do here is I am going to take my glue and I'm just gonna add some glue right along the edge here. And I'm not adding it anywhere in the center, only along the edge, okay? And so I'm gonna add a good bit of glue right there along the edges. All right. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of place it as far down as possible here on the back of the heart without going off the heart anywhere, okay? So right there at the back. And then I'm just sealing this down. I didn't add any glue here to the top because what I'm going to do is just create a little bit of an opening so that way I can add my gift card here at the back. All right, and so I've got my gift card and you can see that it'll just slide right in there and it's enough that it will stay hidden from the back of the heart, okay? All right, so let's pull that out for just a moment. All right, so now that we've got that part, we're gonna flip it back over and now we're gonna get our other pieces here and we're going to start to just add some glue to this one. So we're gonna take our pattern layer and we're going to glue this completely down right on top of that back piece. So again, I'm going to use my glue and it's really not happy with me today. I totally went out of the camera, I'm sure. I think what I might do is I might just take off my middle tip here and we'll just glue without it for today. All right. Okay. So what we're going to do is, like I said, I think it's just my glue here. Whoops. I think it must just be my glue. There's something wrong with my glue. Maybe it's getting too old. Oh, nope, that was it. There was like a bubble or something. Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna add glue, like I said, to the back of everything here. Oh, this is just like another crazy day that ends in Y, right? Okay. Oh, and like it works for a little bit and then it's just dying on me. Definitely the bottle here. All right, so we're just gonna add glue all over here. That was a whole lot there. Let's put this on its side there for a moment. And then we're going to press it down just like that right on top. And so you can see I kept everything between my fingers there to make sure that I had it all lined up. And that looks good so far. Okay, so now for the next part, because this is going to be my back layer and my next layer is going to be my transparent layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my foam tape here and I'm going to start right here at the heart. And I'm going to try and stay as close to the edge as possible and just kind of inch my way all around this heart here. All right, and we're just gonna keep going all the way around. And so you can see I'm turning it as I'm pressing down here with my foam tape. I'm going kind of right up to the edge without really going over. And then I'm going to really pivot right here. And then again, just pressing it down. All right, okay. And so we're going to meet it up right here at this part. And I think I forgot to bring my scissors over, but it's going to be okay. I'm going to meet it right there so that way it seals, okay? We definitely want to make a seal here so that way none of our pieces fall out. Okay, so once we have that part there, then we can take off this top piece here. Okay, so we just went backwards around that way. Then we're going to press down. Oh, before we even do that, I totally forgot because I didn't even add in like my confetti yet. And I already took everything off. Okay, so this is where I am going to cheat, okay? So now that I've totally taken that off, that's probably the last thing we should have done. This is where my Mod Podge and my paintbrush are going to come in. Like I said, I like to cheat. When I make a shaker, I don't like all of my shaking pieces to kind of go all the way to the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint a little bit of some areas here with Mod Podge, okay? And when I go to add my confetti in here, what's going to happen is it's going to stick to certain spots. And so that way, when I hold it upright, not all of it's going to fall down, okay? Now I'm going to have to be extra careful too because I've already taken off the tape part here, the top part here to my foam tape. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add this one first. And if you have like a little, I don't know, like a little tiny shovel or something, you could go ahead and just put these down. So I'm going to try and be really careful that I don't get it everywhere. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and add some of these bigger ones too. Okay. So you can add as much as you want, like don't go too crazy because you want to make sure like it still has that shaking effect. All right, I'm gonna add a couple pieces up there. And some of these I'm just kind of adding like right on top of my Mod Podge so that way they stay. Okay, all right, that's good for me. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our acetate piece and we're going to press it down right on top of our foam tape. And what we want to do is, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of lift it here. So that way, again, I can hold it between my fingers and my fingers will kind of be my guide. So that way, when I press it down, I know I'm getting it right in that right spot. So that looks good. And then you can just really kind of press it down there. And if you have any pieces kind of upright, like this one is here, what you can do is just go back in there and make sure that it stays, okay? All right, so once we have that part down, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add our glue now to the back of this layer here. Okay, so our white layer. And so again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just going around with my glue and adding it to this layer here. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over and then press this down as well. And so again, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this part, hold it between my fingers, so I'm getting it lined up, and that looks good. And then I'm going to press it down. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing here with my glitter layer that has my arrow. Okay, and so because I'm not using my metal point here for my glue, I'm just using my glue. I'm going to be a little extra careful as I'm going around. I'm going to add the glue everywhere like normal. But when I'm going here around the edges, I'm just going to take a little bit more caution. So that way I'm not getting around this pattern that's on the heart. Okay. So I'm moving pretty quickly with this because it's a little bit easier actually to use my glue without the metal part. And again, I'm going to hold this part here in my hand and let it be my guide, and then press it down. All right. Okay, so once you have that part, then you can go ahead and you can take your arrow as well. And once more, just kind of line things up here because this one's not going to cover the arrow. There's a little bit of a border that surrounds it. And so again, I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to the back here. Just going all over. And now for this one, what I want to do is I want to leave it down here on the table, but I want to take my time and make sure that I'm maintaining that border, like I said. You don't want it to be too far up to the top or too far down to the bottom. All right. And the next thing we're going to do is add in our words. And you can really add glue everywhere that you want to the back of the wording, or you can just choose like certain spots. I'm going to do some certain spots here, like with the L and the A. Actually, I think I'm just going to go all the way around just to make sure that it sticks down and that way nothing rips, because sometimes that can happen and then it gets tricky. All right, so I'm just adding the glue everywhere here. And then I'm going to press it down right here over the arrow. Okay. All right. And so once you have that pressed down, then it's kind of good to go. And the last part that we're going to do is we're just going to add this little like heart trio of hearts right here to just kind of add a little bit something more. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do though first is I'm just going to glue down the smaller hearts to this one. So I'm going to add glue to that piece and then press it down right there on top. And then I'm going to just check my orientation really quick there for that one. It looks good. I'm going to add glue now to the back of this one. And then press this one down right here. And now what I'm going to do for this last piece is this is where my foam dot is going to come in. I'm just going to add it here to the back. So I'm going to add this one here down here. Whoops. And I shifted that because the glue didn't dry yet. So let me just move it back. Okay. And then I'm going to add another one kind of like right up top here. Okay. And then just peeling off the other layer, the opposite layer there for that. And let's add one more to this part right there. All right. And that looks good. Okay. And so I'm just going to press this down right there. And this is just going to kind of give it like a little three-dimensional pop. And so there you go. So you can see that will finish all of our gluing. And then, like I said, you can just take your gift card. I've got glue on my table, place it there at the back, and it's like double functioning. So it's a very cute little design here. I hope you guys enjoy crafting one for yourself. I would love to see like how you brought yours together and like what kind of cardstock you used. And it's just fun and it's so pretty and cute, right? And functional. All right. So please be sure to like this video, come on over, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have fun crafting. Thanks for watching. Bye.